Alright, brave souls, welcome. I am the GM in the Great Barrier, the GM of many characters but one voice, and we are here tonight with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. We are back for part 3 of our episode, Qulpu, juHDaq, yIleH. And as we come back to the game, from when last we left off, the crew is settled in on the world of Mektor, the seat of the House of Cord, Tapok's personal house. The place his family has long called home. It is an outpost that has seen many better days, but life continues on here, and it has presented you a sufficient refuge, if you will, as to give you a moment's rest. For some, that has meant even the worst of encounters thus far seem to have not avoided any ill fate as you might have experienced elsewhere. Indeed, the lightest was Traven only almost getting eaten, but being saved by a mysterious Hemhoch, who is, I don't know, passed off a few slightly disparaging comments, but more just knocking at your expense. That you were left with scarcely more of an opportunity to suffer any more mental or emotional damage, Traven. You at best maybe have a slight wound to pride. No stress taken, though.
I lost all that in hell.
Yeah. It does wonders for your self-esteem and anxieties, other things. Anywho, for the rest of you, you've been keeping occupied as best you can, getting the ship under repairs, and in the case of the doctor, who's been called away from his escort of the captain, fixing up the prisoner that some of you weren't aware you had, the Creel individual that was among the team trying to take out Raldar. But the most immediate concern is presented as an internal family issue for you, Tabak. For your wife, Morathy, has told you at this point that all is not entirely well, or there's been some mutterings of busy deeds on the part of your brother, Tabor, and it seems as though they are all coming up very fast, for no sooner than you have met him has word come in of a ship that is arriving in orbit. Somebody whom Tabor is convinced will help change the fortunes of the House of Cord. And action he has taken of his own initiative. Much to your chagrin here. So, I think we'll just come in on this point where Tabak, I think you were still holding your younger brother by basically the scruff of his shirt. You'd pulled him in. He is not yet given to any sort of retaliation, but you're presently in this sort of tense little showdown right now.
What have you done, brother?
Oh, calm yourself, Tabak. I have been only conducting myself in a way that would enable our house more opportunities. Not in anything that stains my honor, or yours for that matter. As a matter of fact, what if I told you we had an opportunity for partnership with a more powerful house?
I would remind you of your place. You are not the leader of this house.
Certainly I am not. Although the responsibilities simply here alone, they require the attention of one. And this deal may not lead to that step, but it might give us the tools we need to do exactly that.
then I need to know what I'm about to step into. What have you instigated? Who is in orbit around our world?
That is a simple question, but one perhaps we best be explained on the way there. It is
Quickly.
unless you wish to draw your blade and disembowel me right here.
I backhand him. Just right to the face.
To quote Worf, very good, Captain, but did you mean to challenge him to the death?
No.
I
want to see how far he's going to go with this nonsense, but really, no.
Yeah.
I am. He is the younger brother. I am the one who's in charge of the house. He has exceeded his remit by all tradition. All right, fine. Not backhand. I punch him.
Oh. You can make it the open-fisted punch.
There we go.
Yep. So, open-fisted punch. I'm just going to say you may roll daring plus security. And I'm just going to set it to a difficulty of 1 here.
Pull it up here. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. And focus comes into play. Melee combat. Yes.
That it does. Okay. That
Curse
is...
slack.
That is 3 successes. So yeah, that will definitely hit. That will earn you 2 points of momentum. Let me deal that out. Let me see what's on the board right now. There's nothing actually on the board. Who would like to be designated... Wait. I hit the wrong thing. No, there were 3 on the board. I think that the doctor is currently holding them, so I will deal out those... It's been between sessions. I'll deal back 2 of them, plus the 2 that you earned. So, who would like to hold on to momentum?
Hold it.
Sorry, who was that? I wasn't...
Me.
Okay.
Me. I don't know. Which voice do I need to use?
It was...
Scarier.
Oh. So, 4 points of momentum over to Tabak. You give him that the open-fisted punch. I'll let you even still go for the face, as you knock him back. Go ahead and give me just a damage roll with unarmed strike.
Okie dokie. There you go.
Okay, so that will be enough to knock him prone. It will do 4 points of damage. It will not deal an injury. He will nonetheless be bleeding a bit from the mouth as he stands up. He wipes away a bit of the blood with his wrist and looks down. Well, brother, you come back with strange customs indeed if you're trying to initiate a mating ritual. He meets you with a bit of a mischievous grin. Says, I am acting in our interest, and this need not go quite so far as to usurp your role as leader of the house, if you do not wish it. Indeed, this may be narrow enough, but I can assure you we may be able to change our fortunes for the better if we speak with the Shatloth Guild.
Okay, Mr. GM, do you want to translate that for us?
I can, although in truth, translation is not necessary. And a roll is not even necessary, because among the merchant houses, the Shatloth, They are one of a few things. Among them, they are a pretty major house. They also represent one of the major trading guilds in the Empire. They are generally on the market for a number of different industries. Everything from the basic, everything from the equivalent of gas stations, or that is to say, antimatter production for starships, to various manufactured goods, to all sorts of other services. They are one of the most ubiquitous sort of entities within the Empire. Commercially, they are far above your own league, many times over.
Are you saying that they're the Walmart of the Klingon Empire?
Honestly, Walmart isn't even quite what I would go for. Really the closest I would envision as an analog doesn't even have like a full context in the US. Though you might know, I'll make a reference here among one of the famed tech companies, or things that produces digital goods here. Everybody's heard of, say, Samsung. Familiar name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it used to be that in a place like in South Korea, where, if memory serves, that was where they originated, there existed what they called chaebols, basically a sort of family business, well, a large business, but owned within powerful families, and that those businesses basically were in every single field, or were in as many fields as possible. So you could get basically different things that were outside of what they were best known for on an export market or something like that. So
like BlackRock.
Basically, that's probably closer. As close as that can exist in the Klingon context. They are a merchant powerhouse. The guild itself is not even just that house, but it is kind of the allied and attendant houses to Shatloth. They are the guild comprises just such a large, expansive bit of Klingon commerce that it is a major thing, and deals with them are quite lucrative.
Okay, and what is the scuttlebutt about dealing with them?
That might require more of a roll, but I would say that your general understanding of the house is that they are both wealthy and have a generally honorable reputation.
Okay, well, okay, I'm looking deeper, or thinking deeper. So, what do I need? What would I need to roll? Good say.
I would say closest as you might get to anything special would be, let's call this reason plus command. Or actually perhaps insight and command. And I'll even allow for Orion business practices.
Oh, okay. So focus still applies. Yay.
Okay. That is a roll that will give you 2 successes. Tabak, that you definitely know that your house has, or at least you personally have, in some ways conducted some deal just because, with regard to them at some point. More like you've dealt with their services before, and they've never given you a problem. You know that they're one of the few houses that came from more humble beginnings in the colonies, and has manage to stretch their influence into the core worlds. They are in particular, say that they're getting to be well known for trying to work with, they snagged a pretty as lucrative a contract as you can with helping to even supply the Imperial fleet, and even some of the houses. But they are still pretty ubiquitous in the colonies. They do have some competitors. Their merchant marine on its own, if you had even a tiny fraction of it, then your house would have well surpassed its former glory. You would have needed quite a bigger starport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
My house has always been a rather modest house, but
Indeed.
it used to be able to make money.
Yeah. This house could have been. This is basically a house that might have been on a very similar track to your own, but they managed to strike big in a certain way. Probably a large bit of that is that they handle a lot of the Empire's fuel supply. They're one of the biggest houses that does that. So, yeah, they're... as far as you know, some of their dealings even come up on some of the fringe worlds where they will work with other species, like the Orions or some of the colonial traders. In their case, it's just good business, typically.
Okay.
But nothing, they don't conduct themselves especially shady amongst them. There's nothing
or at least none that has been heard of.
Yes. From all of your experiences and anything you know with those two successes, I would say their reputation seems to be, about what you would expect it to be. But you've never dealt with the guild or the house in anything quite to this level, so that's a whole new playing field.
Okay. And what offers have you made to the guild, little brother?
Oh, I can explain more of what we've negotiated as we greet our guest, but in essence, they need, in effect, they need a way station. They need exactly a port like ours, and apparently, on account of some instability in other parts of the Empire, they're looking to actually relocate. They're looking for new routes that they might carve, and it just so happens Mektor might be strategically situated. We could bring traffic here. We could charge on that revenue. We could have freighters come through that we could use to reinvest in our own.
Relocate. Explain that, please. Are they wanting to take our home?
Certainly not. I would never sell our the seat of our power and of our home.
Really?
Any such... Oh. Contrary to what you've always believed, brother, I am neither quite so foolish, nor am I imminent to meet a death anytime soon.
I've never questioned your motives, brother. Simply your capabilities in delivering.
You talk as if it's barely my first rite of, as if I've barely passed my first rite of ascension.
No, not at all. But you have not seen what I have seen. You have not done what I have done. Your experience is limited, and you are trying to exceed your grasp, I fear. But we will speak with them. and we
He's
will see what it is. We will speak with them, and we will see what it is they have to say. They have brought an exceptionally large vessel into orbit around our world. Have they not? They think we have no vessels of our own. They know nothing of my ship, though they will see it, but not know that it is mine. You may have placed us in danger.
What? At first, Tabor hardens his face a bit when he hears you speak of, like, his inexperience and the insults that are, what could easily be interpreted as insults, given that he is trying desperately to balance against the defense of his honor with the need to try and prove himself here and, like, prove the... basically try not to disrupt what he is trying to accomplish here, and what might, well, if he is telling the truth, what might stand to benefit you both. But he does come to a bit of puzzlement when you say this. You think these people mean to do battle with us after weeks of discussion? That you think that they would come to invade this place? How? What? Brother, I have no doubt.
As I have said, you have not seen the things I have seen, nor done the things I have done. Your knowledge is small in comparison. That is because of your youth. I know. I will not say I know better. I simply know more. And I know more of how things operate off of our planet. And I have learned to see every situation as a dangerous one first, hoping that it isn't, but being prepared nonetheless should my assessment be correct. I know that the guild is perceived of as honorable. However, we are Klingons. They are stronger. We are not as strong as we once were. We are easy prey.
Well then, brother, perhaps you should try to keep some of that paranoia in check. For we are Klingon, and we do battle in our own way. But we are also still merchants, and so long as we do not give offense to generate an encounter by force, then they will meet us on the same field of battle that we have always done, of commerce, of business, of trying to seek out our best possible deal.
Correct.
So,
but I still say they have brought an exceptionally large ship to our world. They didn't need to bring a vessel that large.
Morathi is going to jump in at this point, seeing how, the dynamic between the two of you. Perhaps, husband, it is better that we see what they have to say.
Oh, I will see what they have to say.
Yes. And if you so wish, we can have some of the retainers be ready to meet us out, and you can even bring along your crew for the encounter.
Oh, I will bring one member of my crew. The rest will stay on board and prepare in case we need my ship.
That
let us go. And he'll walk out the door and start walking towards the field. And as he
Okay.
goes, keys his communicator to the ship.
All right. We will revisit that in a moment, but I think first that we should go back to the... we'll have to go back to the yawn here. Due to Rev's absence here, I think we are due for one scene in sickbay to start with, in which I will be doing my best to do justice to the doctor here. I also, on one smaller note, have to say the token that we are presently using may change for this in the future. For the Creel character, I will say that in the process of trying to work on it, Star Trek Online got very weird with me, so I have not had the opportunity to change it. We'll fluff things on that as needed. But let's see. Scene in sickbay has yet to happen. We have a new supporting character that will be relevant to it, and the doctor will also be there. Does anyone else want to be in sickbay to check on the one prisoner who managed to survive Dar?
Well, I assume my involvement, I should probably be there.
Yep. So, then...
Should I be there?
Well, one way or another, Cheesy, you should be in the scene. So, I'll let you decide whether Traven is also there.
Oh no. You gotta cook.
Fair enough.
Gotta cook.
All right, so we'll pick up, we'll say, scene transitions from Tabak and the other members of his house leaving to the sickbay of the Yon, where the door opens, and Raldar, as you step in, you find the doctor standing over a Creel in the most intensive biobed that the Yon has. As you saw from the last time, he was quite bloodied, and there were definitely parts missing. There were definitely parts missing. Sorry, guys. OBS just did something slightly weird on me. First, can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Just making sure here.
The stream just did something odd.
Yeah.
Like
I'd say give that a quick refresh. Well, let me... There. We are back in live here. I think it's just it momentarily disconnected. OBS had a moment there, so we lost things there. For those of you watching this in the archive, this won't be an issue, and if I remember, I will have this edited out. So, yep, all will be well. But anyway, where was I? Right, Raldar, you step into the medical bay. The Creel has been worked on steadily for a fair bit of time. I would go so far as to say you were probably briefly waiting outside while Kresic insisted on working on his patient. Perhaps more so out of irritation towards you and really anyone else in the crew, since this was the first he was learning of his new prospective patient. The Creel you see on the biobed, he is at this point partially bandaged up. There is some tissue that he has managed to replace with some work with the combination of his own tools and other and some of the Yon's own gear. He is running a scanner over him and just looks up and says, "This one will actually survive."
Impressive.
It is my standard work. I will ask before he comes around. Are any others of his ilk still on board? Do I have any other patients that I should know about and be working on?
He was the only prisoner captured from the engagement. There are no other Creel on board.
The doctor leans forward, placing a hand on the bio bed, slightly resting against it. He, like you, Raldar, is slumped a bit, necessarily, just so as not to, feel too claustrophobic or deal with any especially low bulkhead. But it almost seems something, it portrays more a sense of exhaustion in some ways. Well, and if he is taken care of, if he is the only one to take care of, then I can attend to other projects. I should supply one final check of the patient. He'll gesture at him. Actually, I think, for one, Kresic is going to close in just a little bit to where he's looking, directly over him. I'll ask Raldar, how close are you getting to the Creel?
Close enough to look down at him. Probably about a foot or two away from the side of the bio bed.
Yeah. So, Nagri, as the haze of an anesthetic begins to give way and the pain that you experienced before is a distant memory, you hear low, growling voices speaking out in what you can recognize well enough as Klingon. The anesthetic is wearing off. He should actually be coming around. And as your eyes open and dart around, you see you are surrounded by these giant lizard men.
Did Nogri go to the bad place? This looks like bad place.
Nice. What do you recall?
Giant lizard. A lot of pain. Now I'm pretty sure I'm in hell.
Believe me, this is not the first time I have heard that. But I can assure you, I have brought you back to the land of the living.
You helped me?
You are my patient as long as you are on board this ship. No further harm will come to you unless you do harm to this crew.
I will not forget this. Your good deed will not go unpunished. Consider yourself and your crew on non-hostile terms now.
No, friendship with Nagri begins. Anyway, Kresic says, well, can you tend to him without feeding him to that clone of yours?
I can.
Good. And tend to that. I have other business to get to. And Kresic, as fast as his limp will allow him to stride out, will go towards his office and through the door.
Are you doctor?
No. I am the ship's engineer.
I am not a machine. I don't understand how you fix.
You are not machine, but you are lying on top of a machine.
Yeah. No, agree.
Good point.
As some of the confusion from the anesthetic begins to give way, you do remember that not only have you in fact met this large lizard before, you have met his clone before, and you, among others, were hired to kill him, or one of them. So you were hired to kill the thing that had his bio readings, and up until recently had learned otherwise. You further understand that while you are at least not going to be allowed to die for medical purposes, your standing among the crew remains a definite question.
So, doctor said you're clone. So that wasn't your father or big brother?
No.
Do you normally get that big?
No. Well, as far as I am aware, no.
That puts my nightmares at ease. Thank you.
I see.
So, where do we go from here?
I guess we can give you some food. And then we will, leave your fate up to the captain.
I am known to be a man to take advantage of opportunity. So I will say this. I may be injured now, but with enough rest and time, I can be a useful member of the crew, or as an informant, whichever your captain needs. I am at this moment very much unemployed, and I don't see me going back being a good thing for my near life future.
Well, you're lucky we have open positions, so we will see.
If it helps, I'm really good at punching things.
Also an open position.
Yeah. Raldor, to be fair, as a testament to that ability, you don't think you could have seen anyone else ever deliver a successful uppercut to Dar.
New security officer training regiment. Can you survive in the Thunderdome?
Oh no.
What do you mean I didn't get the position? I fought. What do you mean only 1 minute?
Yeah.
Will I be stuck here, or will I be walking around with you?
If you can feel like you can walk, then we can just take you to the mess hall to at least feed you.
I will endure the pain for a good meal.
So,
Eh, we have a good cook.
with that, Nogri, you feel, for one thing, you note you have feeling. You have it in all of your limbs. You are thankful, as ferocious as that fight was, you managed not to lose any of them. From your large, muscular arms down to your much less muscular, nay, spindly legs, and you find yourself able to get to your feet, a little wobbly at first, but sure enough, able to walk and proceed very cautiously with this Gorn. So, as that goes on, I think we might at least want to briefly check in with the bridge, since any communication will probably get filtered through there. Unless, Nagri, Raldar, do the two of you want anything to do right now?
I am good to
I
continue.
am good.
Okay, well, we'll stick with that initial encounter here and work things out. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Azek, maintenance has been moving apace. If I don't recall what other projects you're working on, though. I think that Vopri had been working on the sensors and communications in order to maintain try to keep the systems well maintained. I guess I'll ask Ray, would you like Croker to be in the scene, or any supporting character?
I can go for some Croker action.
Fair enough. So, Croker, you step into the bridge. Just to remind you of the context, since some of that may have been lost. The captain has brought you to his home planet, which, positive there. On the negative end, it was to go see his wife. So I'll let you digest that for a moment. Azek, you back on the bridge, see Vopri has come back and is setting about sensors. I have completed additional diagnostics, I believe. We will be able to bring sensors back up to full power soon.
Excellent news.
As he looks over his displays, like, oh dear, oh dear. Azek, I don't know. I don't mean to alarm you, but we happen to have a what appears to be a large craft in orbit, and what appears to be a shuttle coming down as we speak.
Question.
Yes.
Do we have any grenades?
If only.
Do we have any kind of
Hey, man,
explosive?
I thought we had refilled
Oh.
our armory.
I believe that we did beam a crate back up whilst on Zetlord.
Well, can we open communications to the captain?
I will try. As Vopri is about to engage the comm signal, the communications, an incoming communication alert basically comes up on Vopri's console. This is the
Jan, this is Tabak. We have inbound. I don't know what their intentions are. The shuttle will be landing at the far end of the field. My brother and wife are headed to the field, as well as a few guards. I would like Kresig to join me. And Azek, if he is there, I want you to prep the ship in case it is needed.
Aye, Captain.
Which,
And what of
course,
me?
Wait, who said that? I'm asking. Sean is asking who said that.
I did.
No, but which person
Croker.
would you voice?
It's Croker.
Who?
How dare you?
Croker, I need you in the transporter in case I need to be beamed on board that ship.
All right, sweetie. I have your back.
Not
Always.
now.
Nope.
I will keep my locator on so you can keep a lock on me.
I'm always on lock on you, baby. And he runs to the transporter room.
I am going to kill that man one of these days.
It will be an honorable death! And you just hear him run out of the room.
In these old ships, transporter accidents are so frequent.
Not when you have a Croker Betty combo, okay? Listen, they're
No.
competent.
The accident would be when you suddenly materialize on the platform with a knife in your gullet.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is that the same day that you materialize into my bedroom naked?
You will have you'll be dead. You'll just be strangled.
It'll be a beautiful death. Alright. Maybe even a little one.
See, this is why Azek is not in charge of the transporter, because he would randomly transport items from one person's quarters to the other just to see how it would shake the crew's psychology up.
Oh my god. I like
You see-
this concept.
You see, I was the one that broke the toffee maker. I just wanted to see what they would do.
Yep.
Yeah. Alas,
Well.
as it can get quite hands-on in those situations.
Oh, boo.
I'm doing the one time, which will probably be edited out, but just the once.
Oh, no, keep it. That's good.
Fair enough.
That was pretty good.
Anyway, so Vopri says, I shall have the doctor come to meet you. I believe he has just completed the surgery he was performing. Really more minor medical work. I don't ask questions. I will let him know.
Thank you. Now get my ship ready. Quietly. And if you can, Vopri, without raising any alarms, I want that ship in orbit scanned.
Vopri just kind of shrinks down, imagining the the sound like the sound coming out of the speaker, causing it to bulge out almost as it happens. Okay. And so Vopri will attempt to conduct that sensor scan. In trying to do it surreptitiously, I think that he will run reason plus science, and I will set the difficulty on that to... I will set it to 2, but I will decrease the... or rather, I will spend a complication... Or rather, a... I'm going to spend a point of threat in order to increase his complication range on this.
Okay, so I'll roll for the ship. The ship is going to be rolling sensors and
Science.
science. Okay. I'm gonna drop a momentum to get another die.
Oh, I'll roll that. I'll roll one for Vopri then. An extra one there?
Oh, for the ship or for Vopri?
No, for
The ship
Vopri.
only gets the one. Okay.
Yes.
Ship only ever gets one.
Yes.
Okay.
So Vopri, on his own, being the best boy, gets 5 successes, all of his own.
And as always, the ship does not help.
The ship will not help there, but Vopri will be able to surreptitiously scan the vessel, and a complete readout will be available for you. Meanwhile, Kresic will also be routed to you there. Azek, anything that you want to do with the possibility you'd be prepping the ship for combat, or at least to get it off the ground?
Which character was Woe?
Croker.
Croker? Okay. Before Croker leaves, and after the captain's signal has ended, Croker, I would appreciate it if you would not assume command orders while either Captain Tabak or myself are on the bridge. We have a command structure on this ship, and we will adhere to it. Do you understand?
I'm sorry, were you talking to me? What were you saying?
We have a command structure on this ship.
Oh,
And
yes,
it
yes.
will be ran as such.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Daydreaming about his beloved.
I cannot keep my shit together. Okay. Let's see. Sincerely response. Okay. He's listening, but he's not. Betty pops out real quick and is just like, "Oh, sweetheart, we know you mean well, but he's not going to listen to you today. He's already thinking about the captain naked."
This goes for both of you.
Excuse me?
I have spoken, and I go back. I go back to Vopri to help make ship arrangements. You are dismissed.
Oh. Betty will remember this. And they.
Yep.
Gee, I'm going to ask something in private.
Copy that.
Azek, you about to get your arm hacked?
Okay. Let's.
We'll see here. Let me.
My sound kind of cut out there. What did I miss? I'm sorry.
I think that everything will go on as expected, or like as per usual. I presume in this case, Croker is just taking his dismissal from the bridge and heading off while you go about trying to prepare the ship for battle.
Okay. That works.
So, yeah, and then across the ship, signals go out for preparation. Unless you I suppose could sound the full battle alert sound if you so wished. Otherwise, I guess you're technically not to that point yet. It may still play out peacefully. So,
Do we have a like a ready for basically prep the ship alarm by chance, or
Klingons have yellow alert.
Klingon escalation goes from mechleth to disruptor to photon torpedoes, plural. So I don't imagine as much to well, I'm sure there's a sound effect, but I don't have one queued.
So I'll just signal the ship. All hands. This is Commander Azek. Prep the ship for departure.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, notification will go out to the crew. Raldar, I'm sure that you can head off and do what you will. Nagri can remain in the mess hall unless you insist otherwise.
Lock him in the targ pit.
Yep. We'll worry about where everybody is if it comes to the ship needing to get involved. So, that being said, let us move around a little bit. We will cut back to the outside of Takur's fort, where the crew is presently assembling, and let's see here. Yep. Tabak, you and your you, your wife, your brother, and by the time you make it from the manor to the to beyond the city walls, there the some guards have come along to join you. There is, coming from the direction of the ship, the distant figure of the doctor, who is he is doing his best, but he is, he is not able to move quite as fast as some of the others, and his strides are a bit limited by the limp that he carries. So there'll be a bit of time before he properly joins you. I will say, on the way out of the manor, Toy Wheat also tries to. She joins you and attempts to find out what is going on. First addressing her mother as she approached, as you were getting things out, or maybe you were speaking to some of the guards, and she says, "Father, you need every able. If there is a threat, you need every abled hand for this. Please allow me to join you."
He looks at Toihui and really looks at her. I mean, he hasn't seen her for a couple of years. Okay, at this point, because his first thought is, "Go away, child," but he starts that actually, the first word of that starts to form in his mouth, and he just looks at her. Does she actually look capable? Does she hold herself like someone who knows how to handle herself in a fight?
No. So what I will say to this, Tabak, is as you look over at your daughter, there is, of course, that first reaction, which is very much... for a moment, you look at her face, from the cranial ridges to the earnest, burning look in her eyes, and for a moment you see your daughter barely past that first stage of ascension, having just barely attained that first rite of ascension. As you look on further, you realize, at this point, she is some years past her second by this time, and she... not only does she have that, she certainly has something of a, she certainly has a bit of that, maybe that semblance of an untested, relatively youthful look, but she does look as though, even with the formal dress, the way that she carries herself, there is a certain stern composure to it, such that for just a moment you see another possibility, one of her perhaps in armor for a moment and bearing a mek'leth. You could see for a moment her fighting alongside, or at least ready to stand alongside you if battle were to come. At that moment, I'd say that your thoughts flick between that image and between that of your daughter when she was much younger, and how the shining star is that most precious thing in your house in some ways.
Daughter, arm yourself.
She meets you with a grin, and nods. Husband, Morothy says in a very slightly hushed tone, I would not challenge your decision in this situation, but we do not know that this is much as I am loath to trust your brother's instincts here, or consider his dealings particularly wise, Are you insisting that we go out and prepare to meet them? Should we? Are you saying that we should all equip ourselves for combat? So if so,
No.
at the very least, I feel a little underprepared.
Then go and get your weapons, wife. We will present a show of strength. And we will be ready should the need come to us.
She pauses and considers what else to, another thought to say before she simply decides, very well, and she'll walk off. The rest of, like, the guards will join you, Tabor will also join. Besides a juHDaq, he has come out unarmed as well. He is largely unarmed otherwise. Your guards will, I imagine, carry mek'leths on them, probably some disruptors holstered and ready. For her part, unless you would like this to escalate, I think that Morathy and, for that matter, Toy Wheat will bring mek'leths as well. Maybe something with a more ceremonial look.
Daughter, you will stay to the rear of the party. I mean, no, I don't want them to realize that you are of our family. Just yet. There are reasons. Will you comply?
I would prefer to face them openly, but I will honor your wishes, Father.
Good. Let's go.
So,
and as we start walking, I again key the communicator real quick to get Kresic. Just make sure he's still coming.
Yeah, and that is where, like, time will catch up, and you see that he is indeed there. In the distance, you see another figure walking by. It seems as though it is it looks to be another juHDaq in the distance, flanked by a couple of others. They carry no visible weapons on them. The two of them, the two on either side of the central one, have relatively utilitarian gear. Or like garb, say something pretty dull. They don't have anything which themselves would seek to escalate the situation, although as they get closer you can probably make out they too carried holstered weaponry of their own. The one at the center does not appear to have any sort of armament from this distance. As you all get closer together, Kresic will very slightly...
Are these guys coming from the landing field?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the shuttle has landed already. Okay. All right.
Yep. It touched down in the time that you gave them clearance.
Yep.
To which the Kresic, first he will beat the juHDaq that are approaching the platform, and will say, or rather the area where the rest of you are, and he'll simply say, Captain.
Sick. Thank you for coming.
He regards the juHDaq in the distance. Someone bearing tribute for your kingdom.
I'll step aside from the party real quick and beckon him to come closer so I can speak quietly. Kresic, my brother has made arrangements with one of the largest guild houses in the Empire, and I don't know what for. They have brought a very large ship into orbit, being still under the misapprehension that my house has no vessels. Considering our experiences over the past few months, I am hesitant to take anything at all at face value. And I am preparing for any possible outcome.
He looks in close, just says, "Do you doubt their honor, or otherwise believe them to be a risk to you?"
I believe they have the potential to be a risk. We are Klingons, and while we are both mercantile houses, my house is weak and theirs is strong.
Then
I
you must simply prepare as best you can.
which is what speak.
Exercise your best judgment and be prepared to fight them as you would fight any other.
I am. I want you here as a doctor. Granted, you being a tall, powerfully built Gorn could also be useful. I want you here as a doctor. Should anything happen, you will attend to my family. You will get them out of here as quickly as possible.
If there's any thoughts that any other errant thoughts that attend his face, then he does not betray them. He simply nods and says, "I shall tend to my patients if they so need it."
Thank you, Doc. And then I will go back and join the rest of the greeting party.
The hemhoch, or rather the juHDaq that closes the distance with you, which, as a reminder, for all of your family, but Toiwi and the other small children at your house, Tabak, this is another Klingon who bears that scar of the Kuvat plague from generations past. His forehead is completely smooth, as with yours, and indeed there's more of it to see as his hairline seems to be somewhat receding, although part of it may be the choice of hairstyle, something that's pulled back a little more, as well as a firm goatee. The man's choice of wear, as he regards you, you can note that he himself is dressed, would denote some wealth, but nothing so ostentatious. This is not the sensibility of the great houses, particularly of those among the Kukawi, who, at this point, sort of rely on a cosmetic surgery to further accent their wealth and power. The man gazes over you with the eyes of a deep, a somewhat deep brown color, and furrows his brows. "Well, quite the welcome party."
Welcome to my world.
"Your world,
To whom am I speaking?
well." He actually smiles a bit. "So I actually get to speak with the leader of this esteemed house this time. Very good, very good. I am Heshok, and I come on behalf of the Satlat Guild."
Again, welcome to my world.
"It is good to be on your planet. I have not had the chance to be formally introduced to others of your house. I only know of the one. The manages to peg him exactly. You would be Tabor. I am. Ah, good. And we have all here, I suppose. This is not quite the venue I would like for. I usually do my business in. Tell me, might I see this estate of yours?
You may, and as we walk, I would like to know what discussions have been had. My brother has been remiss in keeping me appraised.
Ah, you've not been updated on the ins and outs of our deal. I would expect a keen businessman of your sort to monitor things very closely on a house such as this. I hear that yours has a long history of conducting trade.
Yes.
Yes, although it seems the merchant vessels are away, save for the smaller trader that you have. Yeah. I am sure your people are plenty busy.
Quite.
And they shall be busier still if our deal proceeds. As you walk through, you start walking through the streets, I will ask, Tabak, do you go for a more direct route, or do you try to steer him along something that would showcase as much of the vibrancy of the city as possible? Whether you try
I'll take him. Yeah. We'll take the scenic tour.
Yep. Okay, so playing Potemkin Village here, I'll allow you to make a presence plus command roll just to see if this helps you any. Though Hashok, I think will. I'll tell you what. You do have some momentum right now, so let's call this.
Did I get any more momentum from that last roll?
Oh,
did we get more when Bo Pride did the sensor sweep?
You know, that's a good point. I do need to award some momentum. Yeah, so that would have been actually 3 momentum there. I'll go ahead and award that, so that you are technically topped off right now at 6. So, tell you what, I won't have you roll, but I will allow you to use it to color the experience. Or if you want to effectively... I'll kind of let it play as a trait for the scene that might play as an advantage, something that could give you a little more strength in the negotiation. Oop. Oh dear. Somebody's peeking there. Don't know what happened there. Somebody's mic, I just got a whole lot of static from that. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it's all gone.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you're saying I can currently the momentum is still just sort of floating.
Well, it
hasn't really been added to the pool yet. Or you're just saying
I have
we can
added it to the pool. I'm basically thinking that you could create an advantage that would allow maybe some upper hand in the negotiations, or give you the to create the sense that this is a more vibrant house.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. You know, take the really scenic route.
Yep. Yep. Well, this would indeed be a most vital deal, and it would make things much more busy around here, I'm sure. All this unpleasantry between House Cato and House Maug. It has been not so good for business of late.
Mr. GM, have I heard any of this?
You do
This
recall
apparent house issue.
You do recall the dealings with the House of Cato and Maug, because the conflict that had started up recently, it was briefly visited upon you, or at least as an ambient affair, just a couple months ago when you were chased basically into a nebula by an Imperial cruiser. It was in a system near where that conflict was happening, and one of the ships you had actually you very likely destroyed when you basically let off a massive torpedo that, I think you tried to beam through the.
No, we jury rigged a bunch of space mines.
Yeah.
And they ran into the big one.
Yeah, something like that. So you may have inadvertently done a little bit too. If they knew it was you, then relations would have definitely been harmed. But there's basically two of the two, I would say, weakest of the great houses are presently in a bit of a squabble.
Okie doke.
And Hashok is basically saying as much on this, but going into more detail. It is, if they want to destroy their own ships, fine. We will help them replace them so that they may continue honorable combat over their fields, but they are now disrupting our freighter routes. One of them even destroyed the fuel facilities of the other that we were using for antimatter to supply them. And while we have others, it's just disrupting many of the supply routes and chains that keep the Empire functioning, that keep the houses as strong and wealthy as they are. Sometimes honorable combat does not make for great business.
No.
But
it is honorable.
Certainly so, and all that we can do otherwise is to find ways that further our own honor and glory, those that would allow us to continue our vital cause as merchants to strengthen ourselves and the Empire. Through deals honestly fought and gained.
Indeed.
And that is...
Now, as I was saying, my brother has been remiss in keeping me appraised as to what negotiations have been going on. And I would like to know what offers he has made and what offers you have made.
As you walk about the streets, he says, well, simply put, we need a port where we can safely base some facilities where if there were land for our usage, that we might be able to develop some facilities to support our ships, a place where we might land, where weary crews might seek some rest, some place we might be able to refuel, to sell goods, and otherwise be able to carry exports that we might be able to purchase.
Mektor is on the very edge of the Empire. We are nowhere near any major trade routes. Why would you want to come to my world?
Your friend...
May I ask?
Your frontier world here, while it may be further off the main lines, that indeed works to your advantage in this case. Sorry, one moment. The GM needs to hydrate here. And cough, apparently. That absence actually works to a surprising advantage here, Captain. While the internal worlds, the core, and other aspects of the frontier, we can establish some more direct lines. Some of our more immediate access points on the frontier, they are being disrupted by the conflict. And indeed, any other places that we would look to were either places of such ill repute that the house does not regard itself as suitable to work. Furthermore, the other places, other worlds where other houses might hold sway, why they would seek to disadvantage us so greatly. But this place could prove to be a hub that would advantage us on our ability to trade in some of the outer frontier regions. Why, with a station here, with an outpost under your dominion, we could very easily manage grain shipments from Master Cal. We could have vessels that might press out to some of the territories that houses are interested in cultivating. Kittimer, Narendra, all places that the Empire has at least some houses have eyes toward developing, and that would allow us an advantage in supplying them.
Again, this whole conversation is happening as we're walking back to the manse.
As you step through
what would I need to roll to get a general feel of the level of both the level of equine manure he is throwing in my general direction?
So I would call this an insight plus command roll against him.
Okay. Would Orion business practices apply by any stretch of the imagination?
He's not really an Orion, so I don't think so.
Didn't think so. It was worth a shot.
Yes, fair. So I think that...
Well, let's see.
Yep. He has a proficiency in negotiation and command issues, so he is going to have a talent that allows him to roll a bonus D20.
Okay.
And
I don't want to use my advantage that I had purchased just yet. So
yep. So I will. He has that. He has a focus and.
Oh
dear. Well, part of the problem is I didn't actually select anything for that, so that isn't. Let me get this up here. I'm going to run over it whilst on the stream, so that is, or using the chat that everyone can see, so that is a 15, a 16, and an 18. Is that right there? Because I ran it over. Yeah, 18. Oh dear, those are bad set of rules. Well, as a cunning negotiator, he's not quite to that point, so I will say for your part, Captain, while all of this isn't entirely, it's not entirely wrong for all of this to be possible. I would go so far as to say that the idea of using Mektor as some sort of distant hub for like Klingon trade, or like it does seem a little weird that he would want to go this far outside of the normal routes. Yeah,
that's kind of my thinking as well. This sort of smells like 3-day-old gah. All right.
Yeah. So
let him continue. Let him continue to ramble as we get to the house.
Yep. And certainly, we would not expect this to be so one-sided. It is your world, and in exchange for provision of some lands for us to be able to work to develop, and your own, and perhaps even a place if there are any parts among the city where we might be able to have an office nearer the starports. We could bring other benefits into this. Revenue that from passing ships. We could arrange appropriate fees so that you are duly compensated. Certainly, the increase in presence here might allow the traders to partake of your interesting commodities, he says here as he glances over at a cat strolling by. Strange fauna you have on this world.
Okay. That right there, the fact that he doesn't know that that is one of our biggest import or exports is a gigantic red flag for TTRPG. That is like, my brother has not been forthcoming in his end of his unsanctioned negotiations.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, Tabor will say, "Oh, you know, Hashok, I have told you a few times about the interesting felines that we have on this world." "Oh, these are them. Do I have your permission," he says to Tabak. "Might I make contact with one of these?"
You can try. I will not be held responsible for any reactions by it.
Hashok ponders this for a moment. Well, I will of course meet this with all the bravery I can and a command plus a control roll to see if I can handle this animal here, and he just barely manages to, pet it as it moves by. That is rather nice. I am sure that as they grow, they would be quite fearsome beasts. You don't have any for sale right now, do you, Tabok?
Not at the moment. I have a client who is to gather his own shipment here shortly.
Oh, next time. Well, yeah. In any case, you would benefit plenty from the traders that would come through, from those that would be there, and, well, of course, as I noticed the starport itself needs, it seems like some of the ports could use some mild upkeep or updates. To say nothing of no ills of how you maintain your hold. But there certainly is the matter of loans that we could supply in Darsex.
And Tabog said, "There's ding, 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 ding." There we go.
I do hope, though, that the terms would meet your approval. I was wondering whether I would like to think that our ability to offer the 30 million Darsex is adequate enough for your purposes.
Well, as an accord has not yet been made, we will see.
So it is battle after all. On my favored field, he says with a broad smile. But not on an empty stomach. I don't suppose, as a guest, you would not mind to entertain us.
No, in fact, the feast is already being prepared.
Oh boy. Well then. by all means, lead the way. Deals are best done over a good meal and a fiery pit.
Say, wife, please check on the progress of the feast. I will accompany our guest to the hall.
She nods and says, Will our other guests still be joining us for that meal?
Unfortunately not.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I shall prepare. That was an out of character. Oh no, the crew missed out on a meal. Thankfully, Trajan's
Yeah,
cooking.
well, you know, we had a feast that was being prepared for my crew
Yep.
and me. Now I have to exclude them.
Yep. Well, with that, let us. Yes, let us proceed to this hall and cast aside our. He looks to his guards. You can wait wherever they deem proper. I can speak with him, and well, I'm sure that between the two of us, TTRPG, you don't require all these armed men or this juHDaq, he says, glancing over to Kresic.
I would take care of the words you throw around my retainers.
Oh, I am sorry. I was not aware that you cared so.
He gestures to Kresic. Kresic is an excellent physician, extraordinarily well trained, and in service of my house.
Yes, I'm sure you've trained this one well.
Again, take care of your words. He came to my service already very well educated. He is a man of great. He is a person of great skill and great honor. I do not employ anyone who is not well honored.
Hashok looks over this and just, with the most blasé sort of open gesture, kind of waves it off. How you run your house is up to you, TTRPG, and I shall say nothing of that. Not when we have deals to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So I shall.
TTRPG will return to his guards and to Toiwi. Take them someplace comfortable. And you, he points to Toiwi, gestures her closer. Keep an ear open around them. Watch them closely. I don't even care if she does it well.
Yep.
I want them to know they're being observed.
Yep. So, with that, with all of that, the two of you will disengage from the rest and move up to the hall. I think that because of the circumstances, we should probably break away from the hall and check in with the others just to make sure, because it's
Absolutely.
the way it's playing. It's I don't want to narrow it too much on TTRPG, so
that's fine.
we'll allow for a bit of a time gap, where on the bridge, Kresic will signal. We'll signal the bridge, Azek, and give you a chance to get the crew together so that he can keep things updated. I'll say, whoever you want on the bridge or anyone who wants to be on the bridge can be there so as to know what's going on. Which opens up the question, who wants to be on the bridge?
Don't everybody jump in at once.
I'm sure if I'm a keyboard button. I'll be on the bridge.
All right. We'll put Croker there. Traven, you want to, or GC, you want Traven to be up there too? Is he away?
Sorry, headset's messing up a little bit.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I'll be on the bridge.
Okay. Raldar?
Nah.
Okay.
Can Lionel be on the bridge?
Zionol is, of course, on the bridge. He slinked on at some point and nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Bridge is short people privileged.
Indeed. So, yeah, that'll put most of the main characters up there then. So let's get things set there. Up on the bridge. You are at the so we cut up to the bridge. There has been a bit of a gap in time to allow for like transition. We had a commercial break. The everyone finds themselves basically going over information as Kresic recounts the arrival of this representative from the yIleH Guild, which he doesn't know much about. Zionel, for his part, would probably know. Croker, you've probably heard of them. Ezek, you may have as well. Traven, not so much. But basically recounting it's a guild of some importance, possibly a house. It's got like all sorts of stuff going on here. He doesn't know entirely what's going on, but how basically Tabok's brother seems to have pulled in this negotiation. You basically get the contents of everything that happened in the last scene, to all of which Kresic finishes his recounting and says, "So that is why you are not invited to dinner now."
Wait, who said that?
Kresic, he's in the process of updating everyone whilst...
Oh, okay. I missed that. I apologize.
Kresic broke off and has helped... is helping things as best he can by signaling the ship, so... Yeah.
I apologize. I missed that entirely.
Lionel looks around. Well, I didn't realize we were invited to dinner.
I don't know that you specifically were. That applies to some of you as well, unfortunately.
Procure is fuming silently in the corner.
I do not entirely know the captain's mind on this, but... well, I can only say his priorities are shifted to dealing with them as best he can and putting forward the best, as best that he knows how, the best face forward or to show strength. To that end, he has not told him that he commands this ship. So as far as the rest know, you could be part of the house, you could be an independent vessel of your own. Allows you to be something of a wild card, I think.
So as a merchant, would Lionel know any information that no one else does about the Soloth Guild?
I don't think that Zionel in particular knows, or like, has any special dealings with them. Basically, they are something of a just, like, they are absolutely ubiquitous, basically, so.
Okay. Next question. Can Crooker or Betty do any kind of scans of the ship that is currently, or the shuttle that is currently, like, nearby on the down low?
Vopri actually did a covert scan of the vessel itself, so you already have that information, and it can be brought up in the. It can be brought up basically once you are done speaking with Azek here.
Apologies. I may have zoned out about that.
Quite all right. So, Kresic says, Azek, the captain did not relay any special orders to me to send to you. I am taking some initiative of my own, as he is wrapped in negotiation at the moment. Is there anything that you should want me to pass along to the captain, should I get the opportunity?
How ready is the ship to take off?
I think at this point, between what you needed to do to make sure the main systems are keyed in and everything, the Yon is as capable, mechanically speaking, as you could hope. Any remaining hull patches that were needed have been completed at this point. You have what weapon capabilities you could hope to bring to bear in this situation. And you could take off with relatively short notice. The bigger deficit right now is just crew status. You have people on the ship that can operate systems, but you are, in the captain's absence, it would take some shuffling around of people who aren't necessarily in the best positions. So, like, there's, with Dakoth dead and Woe gone, nobody has officially really stepped into tactical, although a few probably expressed at least a little bit of competency on the matter, or willingness to do it.
Croker absolutely is willing. Ready and willing.
Okay. Relay to the captain that we're ready to fly. On his command.
I will do that. So, anything else anyone wants to say whilst involved in the scene here?
Mine's mostly towards Vopri, asking updates on the up ship, but we can do that after Kresic leaves.
Okay, so Kresic will close the comm line once everything finishes off. Let's see. Vopri reviews the sensors. There is still no sign they've detected us. Near as I can tell, the vessel is fairly standard configuration. He starts pulling up schematics on it. The Bath-class vessel has as a general model, is very capable in terms of fairly strong defenses, supportive armor plating, and rapid targeting capabilities. Armament is similar to our own disruptors and torpedoes, but given size and power advantages, it is the disruptors are more capable and are also they are arrayed in a bank format, so they could fire at longer range. However, they would be less capable of damage compared to our cannons. If we get into close enough range, we could make it difficult for them.
Understood. Keep monitoring the ship for any unusual weaknesses that we might be able to exploit.
Zionel has lurked over to Vopri and has leaned forward and says into his ear, I like the way your mind thinks.
Azek takes a very large step away.
Did I say Azek? I thought I said Vopri.
Oh, did you say for I'm sorry. My headset is not working very good tonight.
Yeah, no. I admire your ability for tactics.
I am just stating raw capabilities.
Yes, just stating. Just stating. And he, moves away slowly.
I don't want to go into battle.
That's what we all say, isn't it?
But yes, Vopri just shrinks down a bit. Not particularly. He doesn't feel good.
So sorry.
Our good boy, he gets a little smaller.
No.
Alright. So, yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the bridge? Traven, you're obviously still there.
I am, but this is a big combat thing. I'm there to step in case Beaupre needs any help with the scanners.
Yep. Let's see. I do have a question now. I was planning to stay here for my meal anyway. Does this mean, Draven, will you be able to cook and bring food for all of us?
If you're hungry, I can get you food right now.
Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gawk Pockets. Gawk Pockets. Gawk Pockets.
Just keep saying Gawk Pockets.
I'm going to kill you, boy.
I'm just helping the benevolent GM by generating threat by mentioning the certain
He doesn't need
delicious
more.
All we do-
intergalactic food.
I mean,
Every campaign is just a bid for getting the GM more threat.
You can give me more threat whenever you want to. Buy an advantage, you can give me threat. Buy extra dice, give me threat. Ask
Sing the Gawk Pocket song.
ask questions. Yeah.
No.
Somebody used the soundboard. I'm taking threat.
Damn it!
Taking 1 point of threat.
I know that was you, Joe.
Anyway. So yes, let's see which for the others, because I forgot to update the counter on the thing, will look like I'm losing threat slightly. Let me amend that. Okay. So yes. But yeah, Azek, besides having the ship prepared for combat, is there anything else that you would want to tend to?
Make sure the kitty cat is comfy on the captain's chair.
The Cheshire is not present on the ship.
Sweet. I go and sit on the captain's chair.
Roll to do something evil to the captain's chair.
Daring plus engineering.
1 second.
I'm going to call this difficulty 2, because it is, well, this would normally be create an advantage, but I'm going to call it create a complication here. I will take threat for any successes that come off of it because antagonism.
Did you say daring and engineering? What did you say?
Daring plus engineering, yes.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm being a dick. Well, I failed at being a dick.
Well, you get to roll 2 d20s, I would remind you. And
I'll just-
you are using command. You can use engineering instead of command.
I thought I quit.
It
Weird. Alright.
but a 17 would
Oh,
not have
shit.
succeeded. Oh, 3 successes. I will take a point of threat. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking the chair could provide just a nice little electrical shock to Isaac. Just a little bit of a. To Isaac, it reads Isaac's biosensor exclusively, so it will shock him exclusively.
I will give you something close to that. Isaac, as
How close?
you rest your arm on the rest with with whatever controls are near it. There's a bit of static discharge that is a little more unpleasant than usual. It's very weird that static discharge would come off a console anyway. But yes, you're go ahead.
Can I counter that with a? I'm thinking a daring and either command or. Yeah, security is my highest, but I don't know, or con's my highest, but I don't know if that would affect this. Basically, to hide the fact that I'm reacting to it.
Okay.
I
So
think that would
How else
be,
would you know?
I want to use my, it does shock me, but I want to use my composure focus to maintain that stoic, okay, and then.
I think that would be a control plus command roll to maintain a stoic look. If you
Even better.
Yeah.
With
composure applying, of course.
what's our max for momentum?
6.
Sir.
I'm going to spend 1 for that because I like role playing, and this is a high stakes role playing moment.
Okay.
Oh, really? We're using one of those.
You
well.
spend a point of momentum. And
Yes, to get an extra dice.
Yep. Oh, at 1 success, I will say that you mostly you clench your teeth a bit, but you and maybe your eyes squinch just a little, but you manage to pass it off as a determined, wistful old look. Something like
Nice.
like a warrior giving a hearty glance to a battlefield that lies ahead of you.
It
That'll
matters not. Betty was monitoring your heart rate, and she knows that shit hurt.
Betty can do that? We're going to have a discussion about Betty.
You don't know anything about what Betty can do.
Next week's episode, Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. We need to talk about Betty. It's too good of a title not to use at some point.
Yep.
Yes.
I was thinking that too.
Isaac or Captain, I do have an idea that is not dealing with tactics and.
Please, it's not captain. We know the captain exists. It is commander. What can I do? What's your idea?
Commander, I could attempt to listen in on communications, or at least try to check some of the latest communication sensor net, see if any items of interest are coming out. Perhaps verify bits of their story. The battle between Houses Kato and House Smaug.
That is an excellent idea, Vopry. You get extra Gawk pocket rations
Please.
later this evening for your food.
Hey, I will do this if you do not force me to eat a Gawk pocket.
You get the rations. What you do with the rations is up to you. You can use them or you can pass them on. That's up to you.
I don't eat Gawk pockets.
But we've been working on a Vopry diet specific recipe.
They
right, Cheesy?
Who?
Or not Cheesy, the cook. He's still here, isn't it?
Cheesy is Cheesy's just Azic's
He's
pet name.
back.
Raven
He's
at
back.
this point. Go ahead.
What did I miss? I think my headset's going in and out.
I said we're working on a Vopry diet specific Gawk pocket.
Oh God, this is spinach puff.
You're creating spanakopita for Vopry?
Someone's gotta do it. It's too long before we get to Earth.
Yes, Vopry, that is excellent work. Let's monitor in and see what comes up. Do we have the capabilities to flood the basically jam signals if conflict starts going crazy?
You do. There is actually, I believe, a signal jamming task that falls under the purview of a communications officer. Technically, from either Traven or Vopry's station, either of them could do it. The way that it works is basically that it is the signal jamming task has a power requirement of 1. It is control plus engineering. And you choose what difficulty you want to roll, and then that becomes the difficulty for another target to try to open hailing frequencies of their own. It gets more difficult if it's past a certain range. I think you generally need to be at medium. With the ship landed right now, I'm going to say that you are closer to long range.
Okay.
So
in case we do get into a conflict, in my head, the idea is to basically prep something along those lines, so that way they can't get a signal outside of the system.
I understand what you're going for. If you jam the ship, it would be more difficult. The one that's in orbit, at least while you're on the ground. You'd probably have an easier time jamming the shuttle or basically the Takor's fort. Any signals coming out of there.
And I assume we're not equipped with any drones or anything or probes that could go out and be that kind of a relay signal thing.
You would have had to have dropped it while you guys were in orbit.
Gotcha. Okay. Tactics for later.
Yep. So Vopry will start to work on that, and everyone will kind of do their own thing. I guess. Let's see. Vopry will make sure to send along some sort of report to you, Raldar, so that you know what's going on as well. Would anyone else want to do anything here in the moment? seeing none, I guess we'll move on from the scene from there as you guys keep things moving along. Let's see here. So I think I'm going to, I guess, take us back to the manor for a little bit. We'll probably close out with basically a scene there, and then we'll go on. Let's see here. So, we'll say time has steadily wound down. It's getting to be more into the evening, where the house of where your house, TTRPG, has become a place to host your new guests. A feast is being rolled out with some food provided in the halls to the others, or like the guards that you have present. Something for Kresic as well, and of course to the small numbers. Honestly, with the way that the feast is set up, it's come out more or less well enough. There's maybe a slight surplus of food relative to the group here. I think that the cooks had been instructed to prepare for both Kresic and Raldar in the bunch.
That's okay. That's okay. That simply shows we have a lot of food and could potentially, be a bit of a show off.
Yep. So
that didn't make a lot of sense grammatically, but I'm pretty sure you understood what I meant.
Yep. Hashok is busy taking a very light taste of blood wine as he lets it swish around. I regret the barrels I had planned to bring. We had a bit of a we had an issue in our cargo bays that radiated something in the local area. Nothing harmful to our crew, but it spoiled the vintage, unfortunately. I shall have to bring you back 3 more like it. What it properly was.
Well, in the meantime, enjoy the libations we can provide.
Yes. But as delicious as your food is, and while I do enjoy time as your guest, TTRPG, I must say, I would much prefer that we get on with the dealings, particularly now that I am dealing with someone as skilled, particularly now that I'm dealing with the proper head of household. He casts a very slightly dismissive side eye in Tabor's direction.
Well, again, I would like to know what my brother has offered and what exactly you are offering in exchange.
I'll put down as simply as possible, he says, reaching back to something, a pack along his side, producing a small pad, setting it down. In essence, we look for some tracts of land for some minor development, something for storage, for some storage and maintenance purposes for ships. We would like to be able to use some of the ports that you have here in the settlement for resupply. Ability to build a few rights essentially for some very limited orbital facilities, strictly as your brother had stipulated. Unarmed and what was the other? Yes, unarmed and unmanned. so as not to. He didn't want us building a separate station of our own, as if we wouldn't want our crews to enjoy the delights that Mektor brings. In exchange for use of those lands and clearances for our freighters to operate, as well as limited orbital rights, we would supply we would be willing to supply some Darsex in loans for the purpose of upgrade. The repayment schedule, I think, is more than generous for given what the revenue generated would be, and from taxes that you choose to levy. We yield at least some rights on that, so that you may determine a fair range for any of those fees. We would also we would obviously supply any help with construction as need be to update the ports, and it would guarantee some. We would guarantee some commerce for some decades on down the line.
I'm assuming he's got it on a pad. Does he give me the pad?
He set it down on the table in front of you, so you may review it.
All right, I pick it up. I start going through the terms.
Gotcha. Insight and command, I'm sure, going to ask for, or you can just spend momentum to ask some questions if you like.
Well, I'll do the insight and command first, just to see what I can come up with a die roll without having to spend anything.
Okay. I'll call.
Or is this a if or?
I think.
Do I get to do just one of these two things?
I think it makes more sense to go with one over the other. You are pretty much still about full of momentum.
Yeah, we got 5.
Yep.
So,
well, at least say the glance over it does appear to cover the provisions, such as he described them.
Uh-huh. Is there any fine print?
Oh, I'll accept that as a yeah, that could be a question to place there.
Okay,
fairly
yeah, then I will. Okay, just a moment. Okay, I'll spend 2 momentum. I already have an advantage from the momentum spent before.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay,
for the long walk. Did I gain any more kind of advantage with the lavish meal? The overabundance of food.
I don't know if it's doing anything for juHDaq personally. So
all right, so I will drop the 2 momenti. Questions. So aside from land and an offer of a very generous loan with what appear to be ridiculously lenient repayment terms, and space in our skies for automated stations, we would take on the burden of providing traffic control. And giving up some of our territory. Is that what I'm seeing here?
If posing that as an in-character question, juHDaq would say, "You speak as if it is a burden to lease out some of your lands for our usage."
Not what I have said. Not what I have said.
Well, it is clearly what you mean. With that, with the tone that you greet me with, Tabok.
Again, I have not been a part of these negotiations.
Yes.
I did not sanction these negotiations. I did not ask for these negotiations. So I will conduct the negotiations that I would prefer to conduct.
Well, if you prefer not to conduct negotiations, then you can simply say so, and I can go find another place. Mektor, though very nicely situated for our ends, is not the only.
Mektor is situated in the ass end of the Klingon Empire. You asking to set up operations here? There is more to this suggestion than you let on. And I'm curious as to what that might be. If we're to be partners in business, then it would be in my best interest, would it not, to discover the reason why you wish to set up operations in the middle of nowhere. We have the Federation encroaching on one side of us. We have vast empty tracts of space. There are worlds out there, perhaps not all, perhaps worlds that are not already claimed. And yet you come to me. And I wish to know why.
He takes a gulp of blood wine and sets down his mug. You're more savvy than your brother, I will say that much. And I will say that when I told you of what ambitions we could nurture with this in the space the Empire already has, I have been nothing but forthwith on you there. But you are right. There are other worlds beyond this one, and, well, some interested parties in the houses, or maybe even one day the Empire might see the wisdom in it. This, whether it's that vast triangle region further into the Penthe Belt, or even those encroaching, that the mix that is that Federation. They claim worlds here that, well, they regard their own, but I think many a house would have some dispute with that, and the Empire might one day as well. But on this frontier,
Perhaps, if the houses could stop bickering amongst themselves and band together for the betterment of the Empire. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I don't see the houses joining hands in quite that fashion either, but I do see enough of them picking their own small-scale squabbles against the elements beyond our borders, the Rongovians, or even some of the smaller independent worlds out in the Triangle. There are opportunities to supply out here, and, well, even if it doesn't come to a fight, there are other trading opportunities too. Tell me, Captain, what would you say the clientele from those worlds, from the traders that visit your planet, what would you say of them?
My own clientele are eclectic. I deal with many Orion traders, some other smaller independent trading vessels of Klingon, and other species. I have no problems dealing with beings other than my own.
He grins at you with that.
He gestures to his forehead. I am, he just sort of rubs his hand up and down his forehead, his fingertips. I am often considered other myself amongst my own.
Yes, and you recognize there is still honor in winning winning the battles of commerce, of successfully trading and enriching yourself.
We all seek the battlefields in which we can excel.
And if we should not come to blows with those beyond the Empire's borders, then there might be plenty an opportunity out there for us as well.
A fight will come eventually. We are Klingon.
Yes, but until then...
And Caleb said we must always seek good enemies to test ourselves against.
You know your precepts well, Captain. Or rather,
I have handwritten 27 copies of the Kesh-A myself.
Quite. He just says...
It is a family tradition.
Yeah. He smiles a bit at that. Well, I have no doubt of your family's honorable intention and willingness to stick within the confines of a deal. To which I say, this is not one where I think that you would fight a losing battle, TTRPG. Either way, this frontier, there are those in the Satlath Guild believe we could be on the verge of something truly great.
So you wish to begin exporting our products into the Federation?
There's no doubt there might be an opportunity for some trade with the occasional independent, eclectic trader. And it's no secret out here. Visit a market on Mastercal. You can find technology with origins from distant places, like Earth,
very much so.
Tellar, Vulcan, Benzar. Strange places, and for as strange
distant places.
Yes, and for as concerning.
Although these were worlds we once, long ago, did visit or pay attention to.
Yes, and perhaps at some point we will give them their proper attention, but until then, as concerning as their project is, for the time we could exercise trade, we could gain technological marvels that they have somehow managed to put together, something that might better all our hands and thus strengthen the Empire.
You seek other markets. You seek imports as much as you seek exports.
Yeah. It would definitely stand to enrich both houses. And if it does come to conflict, Satlath Guild is perfectly situated to supply the belligerents when the time comes. Why, if the Empire or the houses did ever decide to strike out in that direction, I think of it this what could start out as a simple way station could grow to the largest hub to supply military forces in the sector. We shape many of the paths that guide the logistics of a war machine that could be built one day. And you could be at the center, or at least at a close enough place to line your own pocket well. That of your people as well.
There's one group in this area that I wish to avoid any kind of contact with, and that's those fanatics that follow Qulpu.
Can't say I know the name, but we needn't do business with them. They have any of the traditionalist objections, he says, gesturing to his own forehead in similar fashion to you. They're probably not too interested in doing that. Although I've seen quite a few sell out their own principles before. Not us, however.
those fanatics and the ones who have been twisted by the knife and by genetic alteration are their, how to say it, their honor is suspect. And their morals even more so. At least in my eyes.
I will not begrudge Kulkawi so openly, but I will say that they can remain stuck in whatever past they like so long as they are not able to trouble us. That
Well,
I
would like to keep this document and go over it in detail and confer with my family before finalizing anything. Is that acceptable to you?
I shall accept this, Tabok, but the evening is late. I best return to my vessel for the time being. I would not seek to overburden any arrangements, as busy as this place is, I am sure. Make your decision. You can inform me on the morrow.
As you wish. Oh, before you leave, I do have one more question. What exactly is on board that impressive large vehicle you have brought into orbit around my planet?
He looks up in puzzlement. Large vehicle, oh. I mean, I am sorry. I did not mean to cause you any alarm. The bulk classes. We contracted out with House de Gore some years ago. We have many of them as sort of a dual-purpose escort freighter. It is standard practice. I should have mentioned as such to you or to Tabor, I suppose.
Well, you may have mentioned it to Tabor, as I have said. My brother has been quiet as to discussions so far. I will have words with him on this.
Well, he stands.
But I will have an answer for you soon, I hope.
Well, take what discussions you need among those whose counsel you keep, but do not keep me waiting too long, Tabok. The House of Cord is in a place to potentially make quite a victory in wealth, but this opportunity does not last forever.
No, as I said, on the morrow you will have your reply.
Yep. So with that, the man will turn and walk away from you. And, yeah.
I signal the guards. Escort our guest and his people back to their shuttle. And then I call the traffic control, tell them that they have clearance to leave, and then I call my ship.
If I may ask, can we hold the ship scene for tomorrow? Because we're running up against
Absolutely.
The clock. Yep.
No, absolutely. It's like and then push the button for the ship to Tabok to the yacht. To be continued.
Well, if I may, I have an alternate way to close out in mind.
As you wish.
As they leave, Kresic says, "That seemed to go well."
To a point.
Well,
there's far too much missing to this puzzle for my liking.
Indeed. And I do not mean to add to your issues, Tabok, but you have another decision to make.
Yes?
The prisoner kept aboard our ship, the Creel, who I will say once again I did not know was on our ship. And I do not like those surprises. He nearly died.
Oh?
I saved him from his wounds, left by that clone.
How did he get into Dars.
That
I
is
hesitate to call them quarters, but enclosure would be better.
That is not a story for me to tell, but it is a decision for you to make. His fate as one of the bounty hunters is yours. He, for now, is still my patient, but he has caused threat to our crew, so if he should persist, or if there is risk of betrayal, that judgment starts with you. And we must tend to those soon.
Yes. We will.
And
I
on
was
that
unaware he had been harmed.
on that note, I think that would be the better place to end off. So
Yep. Good
Yep.
game.
Yep, we'll close out there. So thanks everybody for sticking through, and we will catch you all later on. So you folks have a good rest of your day here. This is where we leave you in the archive.
Remember to get those Gawk Pocket orders in soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna murder him. Why are you doing that?